Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, friends. Good morning, family. I would like to welcome you again to the Leadership Lessons with Dr. Stanley Maposa. And we are talking on the subject entitled Leadership Characters from the Bible. Leadership Lessons, from Bible Characters, or Leadership Lessons from Bible Characters. That's the topic. We talked last week about Noah, Abraham, Joseph, as well as Moses. And today we're starting from Joshua. Joshua is an indication that true leaders rule by example rather than by command. True leaders rule by example rather than by command. He is the leader that followed Moses in the leadership. And in chapter 24 of the book of Joshua, after leading the people into the new land, and they were now in Canaan, and the land redistribution had taken place. Land appropriation without compensation had happened in Joshua, and he is there, and the people are there, they're ready. And he says, now look here, I want to give you a choice to do two things. My choice is made up of two things. Option number one, if you want to continue to serving God, the God that you have been serving, the God of Israel, please do so. Option number two, if you want to join the people that we found in Canaan here and follow their God, do so also. You have a choice. You can do A or B, but as for me and my family, we are going to serve the Lord. He didn't threaten them to say, come on, serve my God. Here, if you don't serve my God, I'm going to fire you from my kingdom. Come on, serve my God. If you don't do so, it means you are disobedient. You're not following the anointed of God. He didn't do all those things. He gave an example, and he gave the people a choice, and he led by example, and the people chose. And the Bible says they all in unison, in one voice, said, we are going to follow the God of Joshua. We are going to pay allegiance to the God that we know. We're not going to follow the gods of the people that we don't know. Why did they do that? Because they believed in Joshua's leadership. They were not coerced. They were not manipulated. They were not forced. They were not harassed. They were not threatened. They were led by example rather than by command. A lot of us think that leaders are those people that make the biggest noise and they give commands and orders. It is not leadership. Can you learn from Joshua that he led by example and people followed him, and he inspired them by his example and they followed him? The next leader is called David. Is it number 6? Yes, number 6 is David. David is an example of leaders who are not afraid of giants. We know the story from 1 Samuel chapter 17, where the Israelites were under so much stress from the Philistines. And there was this man who the Bible says was 9 feet tall and was called Goliath, and he was coming from Gath. And this man had taunted the Israelites and challenged them that they should send one man to fight him. In other words, he defined the game of fighting. He defined the fighting strategy. He says, bring one man. I don't know whether they were fighting like that during that time or armies were fighting armies, but he says, bring one man to fight me. And he criticizes Israel. He criticizes, the king. He was there. Saul was there. The brothers of David were there. Everybody was so terrified about this man called Goliath. And lo and behold, David comes in. A leader comes in. When a leader steps in a situation that is terrified and situation that is full of confusion, that leader must be able to confront the giant that is terrifying the people. the elephant in the house. So he came in and he says, you want to fight me with your javelin and with your spears and with all this, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. And he takes a simple stone, and that's the stone that killed Goliath from David. He killed him, he dropped dead, he cut his head, and he was able to address this particular challenge that Israel was having. What am I saying here? I'm saying leaders are those people that are not afraid of giants. We're living in a time of coronavirus. We're living in a time of economic challenges. Leaders must face these challenges head on. And when they do so, they help people to address these challenges. You will face challenges, but you must always have the conviction and the strength as a leader to resolve these challenges the manner that you want them to be addressed. And people will follow suit, and people will enjoy that particular kind of leadership. The next leader that I'm going to discuss here is Isaiah. Isaiah is an interesting story as well as a leader, which I want to give you a lesson from. Isaiah is a leader that rises above the occasion. He rises to the occasion. In the vision that he saw in Isaiah chapter 6, God asks and says, who am I going to send as a prophet amongst these people? These people that we have already described, Isaiah, that they are people that are misbehaving and your mouth is also dirty because of them. You stay amongst the people that are so corrupt and so wrong. Who then can I send? Isaiah. And Isaiah says, send me. To my leader. Says, send me. Send me, I'm here, send me. And this is a leader who does not look around for others to be sent. He says, send me. We're living in a time when you get to a meeting and people are talking, or in a family setup, people are talking, and somebody says, we should do this. Why should we not do this? We should do this. It's like the statement is expecting somebody to do it. Why not you? Why are you not giving clear message that me, as Stanley Maposa, I will do A, B, C, D? Why I say we should do this? Someone should do. Who is that someone whom we are addressing, and you are not addressing yourself? So leaders must say, I raise my hand. I lift my hand. I stand up first. I speak first. I make a decision. I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. Actually, if you are not going to do it, no one is going to do it. You will create a culture where everybody speaks very good language. This must be done. We must do this. We must do this. Rhetoric talk that amounts to nothing. Isaiah says, I will do it. It's me. Send me. Send me. I'm here. Send me. I'm here. Leaders should shine in action. Something called inaction. And they should always be ready to take the challenge, rise to the occasion, and plunge into the moment's notice. The next leader I'm going to discuss here today is Daniel. Daniel is a character that talks about leaders that should maintain their resolve without regard of the consequences. You must stand for what you believe. You must stand for your resolve, despite the consequences that shall come as a result of that. Many of us know the story of Daniel in the lion's den. When we were in Sunday school, we could sing about Daniel in the den of the lions. But when you look at Daniel, you'll find that in chapter 6 of his book, he was one of the highly esteemed government officials in a foreign land. He was an administrator, very, very powerful young man in a foreign land, until those that were from that land became jealous of him. I think I'm talking to someone here. If you're in a foreign land, when you're successful, you are doing well, it is common that those of that land become jealous of you. And that's what happened to Daniel. Therefore, the story is told that because Daniel was so successful as a leader, young and leading, those that were leading with him and were belonging to that particular country where he was, and they didn't like his success, plotted against Daniel. And they plotted against Daniel. They went to convince the king, the president of that land, to say, no, this guy is not doing well. He's performing well. He's doing well in terms of work-related matters. But he's something that is not doing on the religious and the spiritual side of things. Therefore, can you please put a law that will say anybody who prays to a God who's not our God here in this country must be killed, because we are a religious community and we have our own belief systems, we have our own God, we have our own way of doing things. But this guy, never mind how successful he is administratively and work-wise, he's got this area, he's got his corner that is not conforming to our religious standard. And the king agreed. And he put up a law that everybody must pray to this idol, must pray to this God of this particular country where Daniel was leading. And Daniel refused to do that. He continued to pray to his own God. He continued to live according to his conviction and resolve. And what happened is that they then caught hold of Daniel and they put him in the lion's den. The lions were hungry. The lions, I think, had been made to fast, ready for meat from Daniel. However, those lions did not kill Daniel or eat him up or devour him up. The next morning, the king wakes up to go and assess and check and monitor and evaluate his Project Daniel in the lion's den, and he gets there, he finds Daniel is still alive. Oh Lord, the lions are still there. They haven't harmed him. Daniel is there. The lions are there. This man has stood on his point, on his resolve, despite the circumstances and the consequences around him. His faith in God made him to be the first place. And knowing this, he would not do anything regardless of the circumstances around him. So what I'm trying to say here is that great leaders follow this example and they maintain steadfast convictions regardless of what happens. So if you believe as a leader this thing's going to work, push it until it works. May God bless you, and continue to listen to this program. We're coming to the third part next week, so don't go away. Don't go away. Subscribe, like, and tag others.